Hey guys, straight after my last video on the topic of Pajero deep water rear compartment flooding, I realized that I was just on the wrong track. Previously, I'll show you here, previously I have I've taken out the carpet, gone through the interior and applied extra sand deadening and covered it with bully liner. Basically, the whole idea was to get rid of this felt stuff as much as possible. I mean, I've basically gone from the interior. There's still some on the firewall, I think. But the idea of putting this back in with this felt on here, it's never going to work. If I go through a deep crossing, this will get wet. No matter, I can pull the drain plugs out, but it's just going to stay wet and it will just cause rust. It's a total no-go. Now I could rip this off, the plastic, but you still got the issue that the plastic will actually act as a barrier as such to it drying out. So you could take this felt off, put the plastic in, pull the bungs out, get the water out, but there's still going to be a layer of moisture between the panel work and the plastic. It's not going to dry out and you'll get rust. So basically, at the very least, the bottom of this plastic needs to go. And another advantage of that is you can then have the bungs in the original orientation, and you can pull the bungs upwards easily. So, I mean, if it gets flooded, you have to take your gear out anyway, and ideally you take it out before it floods. And then you're in a position where you don't have to crawl under the car. You can just pop the bung from the top, drain it out, put the bung back in, and then just finish drying it off. So the question then is, well, can you just eliminate the plastic altogether? Just leave it out? Unfortunately, not really quite. Close, but not quite. I've just kind of put this together so you can see. I've just kind of bunged that in place, bunged this piece back in place, and that, and this trim here. They're not fully home, but they're there well enough. But you can see here that when I press on this, it's not quite supported well enough. It's not supported in the way that it was. You can see here that I can. It's getting prized up there. So it's close, but not quite. So. Thankfully, in my case, I have a rec, so I don't necessarily need to cut this. So at this stage, I'm going to look at taking the one out of my rec and maybe just this top piece, trimming that off and fitting the top part. I don't think I need the bottom part, and actually, who knows, I might even get a bit more space by not having that in there. What's the chance that it follows these contours perfectly? I'll get just that little bit more space. And so what I'll do is I'll apply some sound deadener around in here. I won't need to paint it with a bully liner because, I mean, geez, you hardly go in here. So I'll just it's covered over with this, typically. Not always, but typically. Anyway, so so I'm going to cover that with some sand deadening to offset the sand deadening of the felt and the plastic. I hopefully should at least reach that level of sand deadening, and of course I'll leave the bungs nice and clear. So you've got your fixtures here anyway, so you've got your jack mount, your bar clamp thing, and then that's at this stage. I'll see how I go, but at this stage I'm looking at cutting off that top part of the one out of my rec and installing that, and then it should all go back together beautifully. And water crossings, deep water crossings, there'll be a breeze. So catch you around. Toodaloo.